hair smells so nice. That wig smells familiar somehow. Come on, man. How's it going? There you are. Star Trek Discovery is back. And we have Star Trek Discovery airing at the same time as Doctor Who. So we're going to test my sanity. Now, we already have kind of a precursor to that because Az is also reviewing Doctor Who and Batwoman. And I would say Batwoman is right up there now with Star Trek Discovery. I mean, it's pretty much apples and oranges as far as unintentional hilarity. And holy crap. Oh, it's fun. It's just fun to mock how freaking bad this is and how saccharine and how serious they take this just garbage pile of a show that is known as Star Trek Discovery. The acronym is STD. STD. And hey, last year we had The Burn in a show that's STD. I thought it was appropriate. This season's cataclysmic. Oh, what do we have? We had the Red Angel and the 7 red signals in season 2 that were hundreds of thousands of light years apart, yet you can see them simultaneously. Then there was The Burn, which was basically a retarded Kelpian missing his mama and had a little spurg, and it blew up every Federation starship that was active. And then Saru took him home and took care of him. And through Space Jesus's misadventures, the plank of wood that cannot emote and is just not a very good actor, through her series of misadventures, insubordination, of course, was given the captain seat. But the most important part of this season is, and listen, Star Trek Discovery is on a very similar trajectory with Doctor Who, which is straight down. But this year we got the penisless TARDIS. Apparently the Burn killed all masculinity in the universe. So all masculinity is gone. This is a masculinity-free Star Trek. Now they being the powers that be that run the show, the former soap opera writers and CW writers, will say it's toxic masculinity free. But they think all masculinity is toxic masculinity. There isn't one alpha in this show. There isn't one dude in this show. I know there's Book, not the Firefly book. But remember, he's an empath. He's an empath that talks to animals and insects. And he's got a really cute cat. And this show is made for Tumblr, which doesn't even exist anymore. So I guess it's made for TikTok. And I want you to imagine in your head, what if, I mean, because there was a lot of firsts, but the biggest first in this episode was, what if we took one of the psychopaths from TikTok and put him on an away mission? We'll get to that. I didn't take any notes. I didn't think it was necessary. Because it's not. It's just what this show is so it's done in the J.J. Abrams, the Jar Jar Abrams aesthetic, where through movement and random circumstance, we make it look like there's something going on when there's nothing going on. It's a mystery box within a mystery box. And then when you open the mystery box, it is empty. And that's what the show is. So there's a lot of, just from the 2009, Star Trek and into derpness and beyond. It's a lot of movement of the camera. And then, somebody says something science-y that they pretty much got off of Wikipedia. We had, I'm forgetting her name now. I'm going to have to look up her name. Our non-binary crew member. So now we have 2 socially awkward crew members. We have Tilly, who was like the socially awkward mentor to, I'm forgetting her name now. I'm gonna have to look it up. Probably should have remembered, but I don't. In Star Trek, unless somebody in the chat can help me out, but I doubt any of you watched it. First transgender, and that's what this show is made for, right? Star Trek Discovery introduces first transgender and non-binary characters. Blue Del Barrio and Ian Alexander join the cast. I probably should have just looked it up on IMDb. I'll figure it out. Because they introduce them and they don't say her name. Gray is the transgender character. So it says, here we go. Adira. Okay. So it's Gray and Adira. Now, Gray is an imaginary friend that really exists that's looking for a body at this point. And they do have a single scene together, and we'll get to that. But we'll start out with the beginning, which it starts out just like, I believe, Into Darkness, kind of. Yeah, I mean, it rips off some stuff from Into Darkness already, and what we have is Space Jesus and Book on a planet with a bunch of characters that look like they came from Tron. I guess the costuming was okay on that one. I didn't mind it. And they're butterfly people. So what happens is these insects or butterflies will form wings on them and little masks, and they can fly around and stuff with that. But they're negotiating. So the Federation has now, since Space Jesus has come and saved the Federation because they couldn't figure out in a century how to fix the dilithium problem, they just needed Michael Burnham to come in and fix it. That's after she she saved all of reality in her Iron Man suit that can travel through time and apparently carry entire churches of people somehow. And then she got rid of it because they needed to get this show out of prequel territory because it just didn't make any sense. So they've retconned this show multiple times. And I would say this is probably the first time where we have a second season where it's not a retcon, like it's actually on its path right when it's to the end. By the way, I want to welcome all our European viewers out there who didn't get to see the show because Paramount, in their infinite wisdom, decided to announce 2 days before the premiere that you're not going to see it until next year. Well, I'm going to spoil the shit out of it for you, and I'm going to save you a lot of time. But if you don't want to get spoiled, you might want to bail out. But I can't imagine anybody wanting to watch this. I can't imagine. This is the single biggest waste of money this side of Doctor Who. Just think of how many kids could have been fed with the money that was spent on this garbage. So they're on a planet, Book and Space Jesus, and they're negotiating with the aliens. Well, not negotiating. They want to give them dilithium. They're all, hey, we figured out what caused the burn, and thank God for Space Jesus. Now we're going around and just giving away dilithium so people can get in contact. And, of course, the alien species are they're a little suspicious. And they also take things a little too literal, and they tried to be funny in the first 5 minutes. They were intentionally trying to be funny. So when the alien species says, I scanned a third life form on your ship and you didn't tell us who it is, and it was the cat. It's the cat Grudge. And they're all, yeah, it's my cat, Grudge. You brought a grudge? They're obviously trusting of the Federation because they bailed out or whatever. They're mistrustful of the Federation. So they mention the cat grudge, and they think that they brought a grudge with them. And then they're all, no. She's a queen. She just acts like a queen. She's a bit of a, she's a cat. And she's all, you have a queen? You are imprisoning a queen? We will free this queen. And they start chasing him. And we're supposed to be laughing at this. Oh, they think the cat's a queen and they take everything they say literal. Oh, this is supposed to be funny. Oh, okay. So as they're chasing him, they're quipping, right? They're like, oh, nice negotiation, Space Jesus. It goes like this all the time. And then they run up to a cliff, and then Space Jesus goes, does there always have to be a cliff? Because, man, all of those cliffs in Star Trek that Picard ran off of, and Cisco ran off of, and Kirk ran off of. Yeah, he ran off. There was a cliff in Star Trek Into Darkness, I believe. But I don't remember Janeway running off of cliffs all the time. Maybe it's just me. It's been a minute since I've seen an episode of Star Trek, probably a few months. Since, other than like the shit that I've been watching with Picard. And I'm going to have my Picard. I got to have the Picard review out before season 2. Season 2 is in February. So I have a great opportunity to work on it in the next few weeks. This is like a little quiet time before I move. So it's going to happen now. And whatever I come up with, I've built it up way too much. It's not, don't expect too much. But yeah. So back to this review. So they jump off the cliff and they get saved by the stupid freaking Book's wedge. I mean, it looks just like a piece of metal. The ship designs in this show are awful. They're very sharp and thin. They don't look, God, Star Trek ships look sexy. They just look sexy. My version of porn is Jerry Goldsmith music and the Enterprise flying by slowly. That's my porn. But this is like, it looks like if you bought this like as a toy or a model, you would cut yourself and then be bored looking at it. It's like this really dark gray. Aesthetically, it's just garbage. It looks like it was just manufactured by somebody who just really isn't into Star Trek very much or science fiction or doesn't understand that ships can be pretty, like very pretty. So his little wedge of a ship that for some reason will break apart and then come together. I don't know why they just wanted to show that it can do it. And wait till we get to the new Voyager. No Enterprise in the future, but the Voyager is there. So they make it off the cliff and they make it in the ship. And then the butterfly people kind of like, okay, we kind of trust you now. You Space Jesus. You really didn't have any strings attached. You just wanted to give us dilithium, and mission accomplished. And all the women on the bridge look at each other and smile. And we're back to pretty much all the side characters just staring at Michael Burnham and nodding in affirmation, because that's pretty much all they do. Now, this cast is rounded out with the cast that looks like they are straight out of Geico commercials, Liberty Mutual commercials, and maybe Colgate commercials. They're very pretty, competent actors who just have no personality at all. But that's the show. So they all go, man, Michael Burnham is special. She's great. She solved another mission. I wasn't sure if she was going to make it this time. And look at her little beta boyfriend or girlfriend, Book. He's so nice. He has a cat. He's not threatening at all. So in this, we get back and we then they reopen Starfleet Academy thanks to Michael Burnham, and they do a big speech thanking Michael Burnham, and then Michael Burnham gives a big speech basically saying, thanks to me, you have Starfleet Academy again. And then the president comes in. Hillary Clinton comes in, the president of the Federation, and she's got an attitude. And all of a sudden, these two women, they don't like each other. And I'm like, wow, my God, we got something that actually happens in life in Star Trek. When a rival female walks in the room, they size each other up. Oh, come on. You all know it happens. Want me to get my wife in here? She'll say it. Hell yeah, we do. So they size each other up and they don't like each other. President Hillary Clinton thinks Space Jesus is reckless with all her saving of the universe. And she'd be right. She's an insubordinate biatch that for some reason Mary Sue's her way all the way up to the captain's seat. So I'm in agreement with Hillary Clinton just on this one. But this is Space Hillary Clinton. And by the way, this show is Women in Space. That's basically what it is. Women in Space. Tilly is put on about 40 pounds. And listen, that's fine. I just, yeah. So they give speeches to each other. They self-congratulate. And then next plot complication comes along, and Deep Space Beta something. I got stuck on Deep Space Beta. I started laughing my ass off. Deep Space Beta. Deep fucking Space Beta. I said, of course. And who gets on the screen? A freaking beta male, like the beta of the most beta from Deep Space Beta. Oh, this show is so fucking funny. So Deep Space Beta calls in. Wait till I do my video review. I'm going to do a video review of this, and you'll see what he looks like. And I'm not going to bring up any imagery because that would require work, and I really don't want to put much into this review. I'm going to make this as low tier as possible. Just imagine beta male coming on going, we have a special anomaly, and we don't know what it is. And then boom, he's gone. So they're like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Then they go to the engineering. They're still introducing all the characters for season 2, right? So they go to engineering, and they show Paul Stamets being persnickety. And then they show Adira being uber genius awkward girl going, do you know where birds get their sense of direction? It's like, oh, okay. So they're just repeating shit from Wikipedia while moving the camera around and making it sound smart because of science. That's the power of science, people, and math. Deep Space Beta. There's a number that goes, it's like Deep Space fucking 69 Beta. I don't know what it is, but I just... okay, where was I? So we're introducing Adira, and they discover that there's like something going on at Deep Space Beta. So they're going to send out to Discovery because it can get there faster because of the spore drive. It can now, just basically teleport places. Comes in very handy. While they're rebuilding all the Federation ships, by the way. And there's a big Voyager. They call it the Archer Space Dock. And they give us, it didn't sound like freaking Enterprise music. It sounded to me like Deep Space Nine music to me. I can't remember what the theme is. I get them confused, but I digress. It's the Archer Space Dock, and then there's a Voyager in there. And the Starship Voyager has I call them nacelles, not nacelles. I've always called them nacelles all my life, and that's what I'm going to stick with. The nacelles are detached. They're not attached to the ship. They just float right next to it. Why the fuck do you need them then? What are they attached with the force field or something? Like, what's the fucking point of that? Other than to go detachable nacelles, like they brought that up last year, and it's just freaking as sheetarded as it is. It's dumb, and it doesn't look good. The ship at least looked kind of like a Star Trek ship, except with the detachable nacelles. But that was it. So fucking stupid. So there's a gravitational anomaly at deep space beta, and they're going to go out and figure it out, and they're going to bring Star Trek Discovery because they can teleport there, but Madam Hillary Clinton in space wants to go, and Michael Burnham, and I forgot what the admiral's name is. He's a good actor, and he's just, it feels like he's basically the Dougray Scott of Star Trek Discovery. He's just there to be a very compliant, quiet. He's probably the closest thing to an alpha we got, but man, he is just like Tony. He's like, yes, Michael Burnham, thank you for reconnecting me with my family, and thank you for all of your space Jesusness. I can't thank you enough. So then Hillary Clinton, Space Hillary Clinton, comes in and says she wants to go. And of course, Space Jesus says no. Because you're president, but I'm Space Jesus. So I'm going to say no. You're distracting me from my ship. And then the admiral has to remind her that the space Hillary Clinton doesn't need to ask permission. She just gets to go. And you're going to have to deal with it. And he recognizes there's a bit of a rivalry here because they probably have a lot in common. They're probably both Space Jesus. They probably both Mary Sued their way to their positions, and they want to be the Alpha Mary Sue. So Space Hillary Clinton gets to go, and they are already getting off on the wrong foot. She goes, hey, you might want to brace your Space Jesus goes to Hillary Clinton. You might want to brace yourself. You know, the first spore drive jump rattles people, and she's like, I'm fine. Then they do the jump. She was fine, and she's all, and they go, and then she talks to the crew a little bit, and they say some lines that I don't remember that aren't really important because this is a really boring episode. And then briefly, we go to Book's home planet where he's with Fidel Castro. I don't know what the guy's name is. And his son, which is supposed to be his brother. I'm guessing adopted brother because he doesn't look much like Book, you know, being Hispanic and Book not being Hispanic. So whatever. He's got a kid, and they do some beta male empath thing where they touch the tree and they get the sap and they put it in a little necklace for the little boy, and they're setting us up for something. And at the end of this little religious ceremony where they do a little mantra at the end, which is hilarious. I can't do it, but it was more like whatever the hell. They were just making up fucking words, and it was hilarious. The birds fly up, and they go, oh no. The birds flew up all at once. Something must be wrong. I got to go check it out in my ship because a single flock of birds, a flock of seagulls flew up. And so he goes to investigate. Meanwhile, back at Deep Space Beta, we get there and we decide to put Adira and Tilly on the away mission. So we get the two people who are known for being socially awkward, have no business being in command. At least Adira isn't in command. She's an ensign, but somehow they made Tilly captain last year, and now she's a lieutenant. Tilly doesn't feel like she deserves her promotion. Tilly would be right. She doesn't deserve her promotion. Now, I remember when Tilly was running laps in the Discovery, and she beat this Asian guy who looked like he was just a gold medal swimmer and runner, and she somehow lapped him. She probably thought there was a Twinkie past the finish line. I'm not really sure. And again, She's put on a couple. Now, I know she just had a baby. The actress who plays Tilly just had a baby. So congratulations. And right before she had her baby with the husband that she's married to, she came out as queer. I don't know how that happens. Apparently, she's still in the very straight relationship with her husband after she had the baby with the child. But she came out as queer. I'm sure it's to still get roles in Hollywood. I'm sure everybody in Hollywood has to come out and be baseline bisexual. By the way, everybody in Star Trek is now baseline bisexual. Just in case you haven't heard, wanted to remind you. Then they go on the away mission, and they meet Beta guy on Deep Space Beta. And there's a gravitational anomaly. And while they're rescuing them, they get hit by a bunch of frozen methane. Basically, they were attacked by frozen farts from space, which I thought was just appropriate for this show. They were hit by frozen methane that was kicked up by the gravitational anomaly, and Space Jesus says it could be from the Oort cloud. The Oort cloud? You mean the one around our solar system? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're all called, or maybe every solar system has an Oort cloud. I don't know. Are they all called Oort clouds? Maybe they are. I'm not a scientist, but I was just like, wow, okay. But apparently in the Oort cloud, there is a bunch of frozen methane, and they were hit by that, and it causes basically plot complication. So plot complication comes in, and they were trying to fix Deep Space Beta because it was out of orbit, and they fixed it. But now that it's got to be a rescue mission. And Adira has it all figured out, but nobody will listen to her. Like, there's one escape pod. It only goes one way. She can reprogram it. People don't trust each other. All of a sudden, the people on the crew are Beta male turns on Tilly and Adira. And then Space Hillary Clinton calls him and basically talks him out of it. And then, of course, Space Jesus gets out there to go rescue them herself. And even Space Hillary Clinton goes, "Are you sure you want to do this? This seems a bit much." The captain going out there. And, yeah, Kirk did this stuff too, but Kirk was fucking Kirk. This is not Kirk. They're really trying to make Space Jesus Kirk without understanding what Kirk was. And without understanding that, without even watching the show, that their belief that Kirk is the stereotype that is just wrong about Captain Kirk, by the way, that he's just this reckless, guy, the same way that he was presented basically in the Jar Jar Abrams films, which is just fucking wrong. But I digress. Space Jesus goes out there in her little ship. Her ship gets damaged. She gets a Space Jesus suit on. She flies out there, and she manages to single-handedly save everybody, except Beta guy dies. And everybody's just upset. Like, you were just arguing with this guy. You met him it's sad that he's dead, but and all of a sudden, Space Jesus is crushed. She lost a man. Didn't know this man, but she lost a man. And then Space Hillary Clinton comes in, and they have a little talk about the Kobayashi Maru. But before that, let me. No, this happens at the end. Okay, so we'll just make this at the end. So she has a little talk about the Kobayashi Maru and how it's basically programmed for you to fail. And you find that out later, blah, blah, blah. And then after getting the captain seat for the Discovery, which is what she's always wanted, earlier on in the episode, Space Jesus said that Hillary Clinton was just there. She was just along for the ride for politics and to check a box. And I'm like, that's this entire show. There is one image. I don't know if I can show it to you. I can't, but there was this image where everybody was standing around. The entire crew was standing around Space Hillary Clinton. And they wanted to make that whole image was there to go, look, this is the first Star Trek without a straight white male. That's what that whole image was. That kind of stuff doesn't happen by accident. Okay, you've achieved a lot of firsts in Star Trek. You got that you thought were first, but weren't necessarily first because you didn't watch Star Trek. But this remains to be the first shitty Star Trek. There you go. You got that. And no one will ever take that away from you unless Picard gets worse. Picard's pretty bad. So they talk about the Kobayashi Maru, and Space Hillary Clinton says, well, I was thinking about putting you in the captain's seat for Voyager, but now you're off because you're not ready. And then, Michael Burnham goes to the president of the Federation. Define ready. Define ready. And then she gives that line about, well, every brave deed you have done is brilliant. You're the bestest ever. But that pendulum can turn into a wrecking ball. And I'm like, pendulum, wrecking ball, great deeds. What? Okay. So Michael Burnham was pissed that she's not getting considered for a job. She said, I didn't want the job anyway. And I'm like, who fucking writes this shit? Oh, God. So, our good friend Robert Meyer Burnett brings up verisimilitude. I mean, it's long gone in the show. And it's just, I'm the only reason I'm watching it is for a chuckle and just to mock it. I mean, Star Trek is dead. Nobody cares about this franchise anymore. The one thing that might have been good, the Star Trek convention in Vegas, they basically took it away to do Star Trek Day in Chicago because they think they're Star Wars. So I think Alex Kurtzman has convinced all the bankers who run Paramount but don't watch any of their shit that Star Trek is Star Wars, and maybe they don't pay attention to the bottom line, or I'm not really sure. But it's hilarious at this point. Like how awful it is, how much we're getting. I ran into somebody last night at the taco shop who recognized me, and we had a little freaking chat about Star Trek. And he's like, "Hey, I'm holding out that Strange New Worlds can be good." And I'm like, "Well, listen, anything is possible. Superman and Lois was good from the CW, so." It's possible. I would say there's a 0.00000000000000000% chance, 0.1% chance that it could be good, but it's very doubtful. So they have a little fight, and she doesn't want to be the captain of the Voyager, but then she does because it's got those cool, removable, detachable nacelles on it. Meanwhile, Book was going to check out all the birds flying away. Then he sees a bunch of dead birds. Then there's a proximity warning, and we see a planet blowing up in the distance. So the planet blows up, but his ship survives somehow. Not really sure how that happens. So Book instantly gets to the Discovery from his planet. They say there's something wrong. And the entire crew's there, and then they go magnify on Book's planet, and it's blown up, and that's where it ends. And we almost got our crying. It was mostly a cry-free episode, but we got our crying at the end because Book's planet's been blown up, and that's the end. So I don't know how many episodes we're getting. I looked on IMDb; it said 11. Wow, that's a lot. At least Doctor Who was thankfully short, but that's a lot of fucking episodes. And reviewing every single one is daunting, but I will do it. Because it's funny. So that's the end of the episode. We didn't get much with Stamets or Wilson Cruz, who's just the biggest asshole on Twitter alive. I am blocked, by the way, by the Star Trek, like CBS's Star Trek account on Twitter. I'm blocked. Now, I understand. I actually get it. I'm like, yeah, I don't tweet at them ever. Like, I don't tweet at Alex Kurtzman or Wilson Cruz. I don't mix it up with actors. I got better things to do with my time. But they blocked Robert Meyer Burnett as well. A man who has worked on one of the greatest Star Trek achievements out there is the remastered Star Trek The Next Generation Blu-ray set. You might not see anything that well done ever again as far as physical media is concerned. And, Star Trek, I would say sage. The man knows his fucking Star Trek. Upside down. He's an encyclopedia, and you block this guy. No, you should be listening to this guy. Me? Yeah, I get it. But I'm a big Star Trek fan, have been my entire life. And eventually someday we're going to get a good TV show. And then because we haven't gotten one in so long that we can cover weekly, right? I mean, there's still some good out there like Better Call Saul and stuff, but you'll see, like, when you have a good TV show and you have a mostly happy fandom, you're never going to make everybody happy, but when you have a mostly happy fandom and then a bunch of us are reviewing your show live and through videos every week, you will see what an advantage that is. Right now, I think Star Trek is living off of its divisiveness. I think that's the only thing it lives off at this point now. That's why I stopped a couple years ago using any kind of Star Trek hashtag because they were gathering data through Parrot Analytics, and it made their show seem more popular than it was because they were counting all the people who hated Star Trek too, who weren't necessarily watching it. It was based on Facebook interaction and Twitter interaction. And they were calling it like the fourth biggest show on TV. It's here. I'm going to go to Twitter right now. Star Trek premiered today. Let's go to Twitter and see if it's trending. Nope. So Star Trek premiered today, and it's not trending. It's never trending on Twitter. Only when advertised, and that is rare. And every time we get a glimpse of like some real data, like they put a video on YouTube. I think I was watching a trail or a clip from YouTube. It had 15,000 views and it was getting ratioed. It gets ratioed every time. And even Picard, which is admittedly a more popular show than this one because of Picard, is getting just destroyed. So as Red Letter Media said, as I have said, show us the numbers, CBS, if this is such a popular show. It just seems like it's content for content's sake. It's something that Paramount Plus needs. Now, Paramount has gone through its third regime change in less than 18 months. And it's probably because there's idiots out there like Georgie Cheeks who give Alex Kurtzman contract extensions, but Kathleen Kennedy just got one too. So at least the BBC was smart enough to kick Chibnall. All right, let's get to you guys. In an hour, I am going to be on Open Bar with the Drinker. They're going to be talking about Ghostbusters. I'm not seeing it until tonight. This afternoon. So I'm going to have to bail out Open Bar after a couple of hours. But we can talk about other stuff too. And I can hang, and I don't care if it's spoiled. I'm used to spoilers. Choo-choo tip history. There we go. Dan Vask, the man with the dulcet tones and the beautiful hair, found out how this thing works. Now I can type fuck and give you real money, says Dan Vask. Thank you, Dan, for the 20 Brazilian pesos. Yes, Streamlabs circumvents YouTube completely. You can use it with your credit card or PayPal, and it's there just in case you want to donate. If you don't, that's fine too. Just hang out. That's all. That's good. That's groovy. That's all good. I'd like to publicly thank Perry Chan and Dan. Thank Dan, for one, for making the great Friday Night Tights theme that charted on Amazon and iTunes for multiple days. Number one song on iTunes and Amazon Music. All Hail Friday Night Tights by Dan Vask. Perry did a great video for that, but I'd also like to thank Perry for his help with my last video, including the thumbnail. Thanks, buddy. Today's thumbnail's done by me. I just, the minute I saw that picture, I'm like, yes. It's low-hanging fruit that I decided to pick. I don't know why I'm wearing a sweatshirt. It's a little warm. I'll just turn on my fan. Kodum01 for $10. Oh, my God, Nerdrotic, that thumbnail for this stream. You're welcome. It brings a little smile to your face. That's what it's meant to do. Thanks, Dan Vask. I appreciate it, buddy. STD gave me AIDS. Says Agent 0 for 5. Well, it gave me brain AIDS. By the way, this is from WG from yesterday that I missed. I will also do it in a square up. I don't know how I missed this one for $50. Thank you. Says, hail, Gary. Sorry I missed the 17th of November nooner. Please put this towards the family Thanksgiving turkey. All the best. It's okay. It was like an impromptu nooner. And just to let you know, if I seemed a little distracted during that nooner, like right when it started, like I'm firing it up. Well, for one, it started, I hit my stream button and it like fucking started. Now it's not supposed to start when you hit the stream button. You're supposed to hit another button, but it just started because I linked it to the wrong stream key. So good thing I didn't do anything embarrassing. But, right after, like, I'm sitting down and I got the stream going and everything, I spilled an entire fucking cup of coffee, like, all over my desk. And I couldn't stop the stream. So I'm just, like, watching the coffee fucking spread all over. And it didn't hurt anything. So it's good. It's good. But, damn. Thanks, WG. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. We got £2 from Human Kirk says, stay angry to stay sane, Gary. I'm not even angry. Like, Star Trek is dead, and it is a shame that the powers that be hired such a hack like Alex Kurtzman. Alex Kurtzman is just he's a hack. He's an absolute hack. He's a terrible writer. I don't care that he's good at putting together content. The content he puts together is garbage. And Star Trek is one of those sacred franchises that they just shit on. And it's beyond repair. So what do you do next time around? Do you forget this entire era? Because if when they go back to Star Trek someday, and they will, hopefully they hire somebody with respect. And if they have any kind of respect, they're going to look at that and go, I don't want to be attached to this in any way, shape, or form. But Alex Kurtzman has wormed his way in to canon and just completely screwed it up beyond belief. And it's because he's just not very good at what he does. Everything the guy's touched isn't very good. I would say maybe what did he do? Get coffee on Xena for Sam Raimi? Okay, he might have done that well. But it's obvious that his writing partner, what was it? It was Kurtzman. Hang on a second. I'm blanking on his name right now. Was better. And it was the Star Trek fan. It's Roberto. I want to say a wrong last name, but the writing partner that he bailed after some shit went down on Twitter, I think, or with the Access Media, and Alex Kurtzman, did what they do in Hollywood. He bailed his partner, took all the credit, and was the wrong person for the job. But he got a bunch of money. He got paid. He doesn't care. But he is, he is the best example of what, like, Star Trek Discovery is everything that's wrong with Hollywood right now. It's everything that's wrong with modern franchises. You bring somebody in who is just lazy and doesn't respect anything. People who have crossed, not that I care that much, but crossed the picket lines during the writer's strike, because he's that kind of guy. And then he's turned Star Trek into a platform before he even turned it into anything. And poor Brian Fuller, his name is still attached to this. I feel bad for the guy. Holy crapola, Space Jesus gets sniffed and felt up by Brandon. Gary made my day. Hell yeah. John Doe. You're welcome. Thanks for the $5. Something for normies for $49.99. Thank you. Gary, thank you for reviewing this retcon garbage so I don't have to. I grew up on Next Generation, then drifted from Trek altogether, but want to pick up around where I left off. What Trek series do you recommend? Thanks, and have a great day. Deep Space Nine, dude. Deep Space Nine. Voyager is something you watch after you've watched like everything else. I mean, unless you... Now, when I say Star Trek, you need to watch Star Trek. I'm talking about what people call the original series, but it's just Star Trek to me. So when I say Star Trek, that's what I mean. Kirk's Backbones. Watch that over and over again. You know what? Like they used to do Thanksgiving weekend marathons. Do a Thanksgiving weekend Star Trek marathon. How fucking awesome does that sound? Do that. But if you've already seen that, then Deep Space Nine, dude. That is good, good, good. Damn near all the way through. At first, I used to think it had a rough beginning, but it was just I would say, probably I would call it a prejudice towards just the formula of being on a ship. So I'm like, what is this? This is weird and different. It's, the space station is dirty. What's going on here? But I got used to it at the time. Orville Nation. What's up, PJ, for $2? Oh my God, Gary, how did you come up with that thumbnail? It just hit my brain, dude. Once I saw her looking down, I just envisioned Joe Biden sniffing her. It was, yeah, I thought anybody would have thought of that. Thanks, Orville Nation. God, we need the Orville now more than ever. How have we gotten 2 seasons of Star Trek Discovery and no 3rd season of the Orville in that time? Seth, buddy, come on. I know you're like want to make your own space opera. Let me tell you this. I can't tell you much. PJ, I don't know if they've probably talked to you, right? You talked to Tom Constantino. They've put a lot into season 3 of the Orville, like a lot. It is not going to be your regular season of television. It's going to be epic. Hey, Gary, have you seen the movie Argo Man, the Fantastic Superman? No, it's Adam West's Batman meets Deadpool. It will make you forget STD. Maybe I've heard of that, Sam Whiskey. I'll check it out after the show. Nerdporio Lifeform for $10 says, how boring is this season compared to others? Is it still Mikey monologue instead of Starlogs? Universe-ending plot to be forgotten in later seasons. How are they making more of this? I don't know, and it's exactly that. It's a show that has not improved. Sonequa Martin Green's acting has not. She still talks very deadpan. She really stays on that last word. We have come here to negotiate. It's almost like she's a deadpan James Hetfield. You know how James Hetfield talks. He goes, going to the grocery store. Gonna get some eggs. Yeah. That English gent for £5. How much do you want to bet that the new Trek writers perceive the Enterprise as the ultimate symbol of white privilege and colonial oppression? Oh, you're gonna get applause. It's the ultimate symbol of white privilege, toxic masculinity, and colonial oppression. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. And listen, they had to go to Strange New Worlds. I mean, why don't you just start with Strange New Worlds? Like, if you're going to bring Star Trek back, you get Anson Mount, who I like. He's got a terrible agent, though. His agent sucks. Puts him in Inhumans and then Star Trek fucking Discovery. I'd fire whatever representation there. But he's great in Hell on Wheels, dude. Like, that's a dope show. That's a good show. And An old co-host of mine really used to be hung up on him being like Batman. And I think, you know what? He probably would make a pretty good Batman in like a Batman TV series. I think he would. I agree with that. But, you know, I like Anson Mount. I like Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Broke my heart. Those guys broke up. Rebecca Romaine Lettuce is charming as hell, and somehow the writing was so bad they made her annoying. That's how bad the writing is. They made somebody who's very charming in real life annoying. You and your buds make my days so much better. Wish my buds. I read that one from yesterday. That's from yesterday. And somebody talking about their buds being lame. Find new buds. Find new buds. Life is too short to hang out with people who aren't who don't have your back. You know, like it's okay to call people out on shit. It's okay to make mistakes, and but when you have somebody who's like continually just, I don't know, not stabbing you in the back, but like little paper cuts, or they're an obstacle, or you feel like they're not like have your best interests in heart, then man, cut it loose. It's like a bad relationship. You don't want that stuff in your life. Ain't worth it. Some stuff, and you know, some relationships are worth working on, some are not. As far as Star Trek as a relationship, well, my feelings on it have severed. If you go back and watch my older reviews, I'm properly pissed. I'm properly pissed. At this point, it's just, I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, I've done a live stream, and I'll bring it up. And when I do a video review on this, it'll be on the next 2 days. I'll bring up the board from CBS. I'll show you what the board from Paramount and CBS looks like. The people who actually made the decisions to give Kurtzman money, because ultimately, you can't blame Kurtzman for taking money he's offered. All right. Now, if I was Kurtzman, I wouldn't write anything, and I would spend my time finding people who were good. But he is so insecure. He is such a little beta that he hires people that he knows are on his level of writing. And when you bring somebody in like Walter M. effing Mosley, who is not only an experienced writer, who is an experienced nerd, comic reader, watcher of Star Trek, the kind of guy, I'm like, when I heard he was in there, I'm like, oh, wow. Of course, they get rid of him. And who do they get rid of him for? The two young ladies who have been writing for Star Trek Discovery since season 1, who wrote 4 or 5 episodes of some canceled CW show. And every episode they write, you can tell, because it's fanfic. But that's what this whole thing is. It's fanfic has infested our reality. It is now moved into fiction where it doesn't belong. If people want to waste their time on fan fiction, that's great. If it makes you happy, that's fine. But when Hollywood starts emulating it, well, that's why we get trash. We also get trash because everything is an ideological decision. I mean, like, who goes into a show going, okay, we need to make sure there's no straight white men in this show. I want you to think about the mentality of that. Because the people behind that decision, Michelle Paradise, Alex Kurtzman, actually think that's progress. And they're very proud of themselves. And while they're not coming out and maybe they have come out and said it. They really dropped diversity a lot. But that's their mentality. We wanted to make a Star Trek that's female-centric, that has no masculinity. And wow, it doesn't work. Who would have thought? Masculinity's not bad, folks. And singling out people, especially when it's something we're born with, wouldn't want to do anything about it, but we can't, even if we wanted to. Gomer Kyle 79 for $2 says, Anson Mount grew up in my hick town. I apologize. Don't apologize. I don't blame him too much. I mean, it's not like he's come out and disrespected fans. Michael McLeod, sorry. I used to say, when I saw the name McLeod, I used to call it McLeod when I was a kid. Okay, I think there was an artist that would say McLeod. I had no idea it was McLeod until I saw, thanks, Gary. Now I want Metallica on Starfleet Bridge fighting Romulan Alice Cooper. That would be fucking awesome for a crossover. IT from Bit for 10 euros. They simply cannot resist temptation. That is why almost any franchise is doomed. Yeah, because they don't care. The bankers don't care about the legacy. Alex Kurtzman doesn't. He can give a shit. He probably thinks it's a way. Like, sometimes he'll come out and try to placate the fans, but you could tell he's trying to go through the motions. It's a waste of time. He could give a fuck. He can give a fuck what any of us think. He got his extension. He can just roll out the shit right now. And that's what he did. Please, it's Star Trek diarrhea more of the same caca, says Commander Ed Straker of Shadow. It is. I don't know if you watched it, Ed. It's pretty bad. A couple of days ago, you said you loved Jar Jar Trek 2009. What are were those your drinking days? No. When it came out in 2009, I thought it was just going to be like a trilogy of alternate reality movies. That's all I thought. So I'm like, well, you're not stepping on Star Trek canon, and you can't. It's not where I wanted to go with Star Trek. But what was funny was I predicted that movie would happen when I was a kid. If my friend Doug is out there, sometimes he's in the chat, he'll back me up on this. I said someday they're going to remake Star Trek. They're going to remake Star Wars. And my friends thought I was crazy. And then they remade, and I said, remake Star Trek with a new Spock and a new Kirk, and they'll try to do it. So they did it. And I'm like, all right, it's interesting. And as long as it's in the Kelvin timeline, I didn't care. Little did I know what damage it would bring. So I think very differently now. But I thought it was just going to be I never thought those actors would stick around long. I thought it would be a trilogy of movies, and then we'll be done with it. And I always thought Star Trek belonged on television. So when I heard it was coming back to television, I was like, cool. I hadn't heard anything about it, but I'm like, yeah, that's where Star Trek belongs, is on television, not in film. Little did I know that they are, to this day, going to stick with an aesthetic from 2009, by the way. Who sticks with aesthetics that long on anything? Oh, I know. Creatively bankrupt people with no actual style of their own. Alex Kurtzman has no style because he's not an artist. He's a poser. Look at the mummy. Look at the frickin' mummy. All right. Floydian Freak for $5 takes me back to the good old days. Started watching Nerdrotic during Star Trek Discovery Season 2. It's fun laughing at this crap together. It is. It's kind of a tradition now. That's why I'm doing it. Back kids, when my channel, I started reviewing this when my channel had, I do believe it was like 800 subscribers. So my first review got 500 views. I was over the moon. I was like, 500, okay, maybe 400 people, but 500 people watched my video. That's insane. And then the next one got like 4,000. I'm like, holy mackerel, what's going on here? And I think the name of that episode was "The Butcher Cares Not for the Lamb's Cry." It was fucking terrible. So, and I don't know if I would have liked Brian Fuller's interpretation of Star Trek, but it sounded much better. And I thought Brian Fuller, he's kind of hit and miss with me prior to Woke Hollywood going crazy. I thought Fargo was all right. American Gods Season 1 was all right. I liked it, but even the talented people kind of went nuts. I'd rather watch Pauly Shore babysit Baby Yoda than watch Star Trek Discovery, says Sam Whiskey for $4.99. That sounds terrible. Oh, that sounds terrible. But yeah, Human Kirk. Hey, I was wrong, man. With Star Trek 2009, I thought it would be harmless. I was dead effing wrong. I appreciate you guys. I really do. And hey, what the hell? So this review will go up on Nerdrotic Live when it's done. I'm gonna wrap things up, and then I'm gonna go over to take a little break, and then hit open bar with the drinker. I'm pretty sure I got the time right, unless because 9 p.m. GMT is 1 p.m. my time. Pretty sure I got it right. Let me see and make sure I got everything here. And it's good to see like some of the names who were here when I did those early reviews. That does my heart good. Man of War 665, the neighbor of the beast. Staldrek. You mean the core hasn't been humped into submission yet? No. But we have 10 episodes to go. And we have an anomaly. That's a gravitational anomaly, which is probably going to be some fucking hiccup from a special needs Klingon who's in proximity of some time-space tachyon distortion quantum thing. I said on my tweet, like last year we had the Red Angel, then we had the Burn, and then we have the Anomaly. Next season's going to be the Thingy. And then in season 5, it's the Chingadera. Or season 6, because I can count. All right, kids. If I missed one, I'm sorry. I will check again real quick. So I'll make sure I don't miss one. Let's see if Eric. How's the stream looking, by the way? Is it been jumping? Because it's been jumping. My computer's not good. You guys know that. And because of Joe Biden, my new computer's taken a month and a half to get here because of the supply. Joe Biden and Gavin Newsom. I got to blame him too. They're trying to say, oh, by the way, do you know why a lot of things are backed up? And by the way, they said this was debunked, but it's not debunked because I've heard from truck drivers who have told me that this is indeed the case, that they're implementing a new policy with trucks, and that's why they're short. I do know they changed a law here in California where a good friend of mine who was a tow truck driver had to buy a whole new tow truck, which he didn't have money for. Those things are fucking expensive. And ruined his business because they changed one little emissions law. So fucking lame. I digress. All right. Thanks, Jeremy. Jeremy gave a little compliment there. Yeah, again, I want to thank Perry on the last video, because that was a big test for things to come. That was a big moment for Perry, and he passed the test. So a lot of changes coming in Nerdrotic in the very near future that I think you'll like. One of the things, once I'm done with my Picard review, one of the things, if you're a member, I'm going to start reviewing all the old television that I liked for members. We're also doing a book club. I was going to do a book club earlier this year. We're also going to do a book club where we are going to reread the last 2 Song of Ice and Fire books together. And then we're going to come up with our own ending because George is never going to finish the book, unfortunately. So we'll just come up with our own ending. One of those shows, by the way, I'll be reviewing will be Star Trek. For members. And, after a time, they'll be available on an alternate Nerdrotic channel. I have 3 channels, by the way. I have the main channel. I have Nerdrotic Live, where this will go. And I have Nerdrotic Daily, which I run with Perry. Perry is the co-owner of that channel, and he does a freaking great job. And Eric K is our wrench out there. We also have Bastard. Who else did we have here today, bud? Bastard. I see Eric K. and Bastard. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry. Thanks for everyone who joined and took a break out of Ricada to watch this. Have they made a decision yet? I don't know. In about, I would say, 37 minutes, I'll be over at Drinker's channel. Thanks again to everyone who left a donation and a super chat. It really does help. I appreciate it. Love you guys. And I will be here next Thursday for another Star Trek Discovery review. Next Sunday, or this coming Sunday, I'll be live at 12:15 p.m. Pacific time to review Doctor Who. It's just like the old days, reviewing television again. It's nice. Except the shows suck now. So if we get a good show, which I suspect we might be getting one, that'll be nice too. I'll be watching Ghostbusters today, so watch out for my review. And tomorrow, Friday Night Tights with Razor Fist. And Chrissy Mayer is now a permanent member of the team. So ciao, everyone. I'll see you all pretty soon. Bye-bye.